Hello, this is our guest service encounter project by Alex Davis, Justin Anderson, Kinzey Johnston, and Maddie Dudgeon. We chose to do Target. Here's our description of our visit. So I was in San Diego, California, and I went to our local branch in Mission Valley.
Hi, my name's Justin, and since I'm from Lee Summit, I chose to do a Lee Summit branch.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm staying in Columbia over the summer, and so I went to the Columbia Target.
Hi, I'm Kinzey. I am from Indianola, Iowa, so I went to one of the locations in Des Moines.
So here's problem number one. So my first problem that I found was long checkout lines. So in my visit, I noticed that during peak hours and non-peak hours, the checkout lines are excessively long and they closed self-checkout as well, which leads to customer frustration and loss of sales. Problem number one, our solution. So my solution was to install a better self-checkout kiosk process that is open full-time. Also, I chose to introduce on the mobile app a way for customers to pay with their devices in store instead of waiting in a long line. I also think that we need to train staff to assist customers with self-checkout and mobile checkout processes and for them to be fluent in those areas. Lastly, I also think that we need to implement a virtual queue system where customers can check in and be notified when it's their turn to check out. Problem number one, research and examples. Kroger, which operates more than 2,500 supermarkets in 35 states, is piloting a scan, bag, go option that enables consumers to scan their own items and pay on their way out with their devices or through a human cashier. Mahir introduced its shop and scan capabilities to 23 stores in the Chicago area in March after a successful test run at more than 50 stores in Michigan. The mobile app was downloaded more than 1 million times, and more than 80% of customers with the app used shop and scan feature multiple times. Whether it's a fully automated system like Amazon's or a consumer-driven mobile app, cashierless checkout offers several major benefits, says Sherry Sheldon, a retail analyst with IHL. It improves the customer experience and brand perception by increasing convenience while reducing the wait. It also enables retailers to shift human labor from the checkout to improve more valuable activities like greeting and engaging customers on the floor. And then lastly, most consumers feel the checkout process is a drag and a waste of time, Sheldon says. It enables retailers to focus more on customer interaction and helping shoppers. And this is all from the National Retail Federation in 2023. Problem number two, inconsistent cleanliness in restrooms. When visiting my local store in Mission Valley, San Diego, I observed that stalls 1 and 3 in the male restroom had broken seats and 2 of the doors did not lock properly, causing an inconvenience and dissatisfaction for me and other guests. Implementing a regular restroom maintenance schedule along with a digital feedback system is something that I found to be very useful, and I think it would give us real-time information. Cleaning Industry Research Institute, or the CIRI study, concludes that regular maintenance schedules boost restroom cleanliness and customer satisfaction. Problem number two, our solution. Hire a dedicated cleaning staff to perform hourly checks and cleanings. Secondly, install a digital feedback kiosk outside or near the restrooms for guests to be able to report issues in real time. And then lastly, we would roll out policies to solve these issues in real time when feedback is given. Problem number two, research and examples. A report from the Journal of Hospitality and Tourism research highlights that businesses with regular restroom maintenance schedules see a 30% increase in positive customer reviews related to cleanliness. 9 in 10 customers agree that they're more likely to have an overall negative opinion of a business if the public spaces such as lounge, restrooms, and lobbies, for example, are not clean. 94% of people would avoid a business in the future if they encountered dirty restrooms. 80% of customers reported in a poll that they'd be willing to try a new space if the exterior was clean and inviting. According to Retail News Insider, 93% of customers who switched to the competitor due to unmet cleanliness expectations would give a retailer a second chance if they made store cleanliness a priority. 99% of US adults reported that poor cleanliness would negatively impact their perception of a business. Also, 95% of shoppers reported in a survey unclean restrooms and unpleasant odors would influence shopping decisions, along with the dirty floors, spills or stains, dirty shopping carts, and other factors. 95% of shoppers say that the exterior appearance influences where they decide to shop. And I know firsthand that that is something that affects my shopping experience. 52% of customers also have avoided businesses purely because the store front was dirty. And then lastly, a survey revealed that customers view cleanliness as one of the most influential elements of the shopping environment. In fact, customers rated it the most important among 13 aspects of store atmosphere.
Problem number 3, location. Overall, the experience at my local Target was good. It provided a good customer atmosphere and was low wait times. However, looking at the reviews on Yelp and on their website, the most common complaint about Target is their location and specifically their parking lot. What's said about the location is there isn't really a clear indicator of where the store is, as the store is in the middle of other businesses in a shopping mall, and that the parking lot is confusing. There's a lot of turns to get into the parking lot. This can cause a loss of customers reaching your store, so they don't really want to deal with the hassle of both looking for a store and then finding a place to park where there are easier places to go. The solution to this problem is add visible signs that advertise your store to customers in the location. By providing a sign and other indicators of the store, this can clear up any confusion and add more customers going to your store that wouldn't have by placing a sign out front. Another way to fix the parking lot situation is by having indicators on the road about where cars need to come in at and where cars need to go out from. Research associated with this problem is, as Target is a countrywide company, their social media presence is already pretty good. What needs to be done is improve locally, their visibility, and their signs. And signs are one of the most common ways of doing it. With 93% of purchases still involving at least one trip to brick and mortar stores, it is important to have a good business signage to make it easy for people to find your store. If you don't have a good business sign, it's most likely to have an impact on future customers and opportunities that your business has to make a sale. An example of a business having a bad location and making it work is Chick-fil-A, as they have signs next to the road indicating about their business and signs on the road about where to go, and they even have human assistance for the drive-through. The next problem is frequent remodels. I interviewed customers and staff alike, and the main problem for them was the frequent remodels. In the past 2 years, there have been 3 remodels of the store, switching up where things are except for the grocery aisles. This has caused confusion for customers as they become associated to the store in a certain way and are forced to change. Now, remodels aren't a bad thing in particular. They can help provide access to customers and reorganize a design outdated. so businesses need to remodel at some point. However, the problem comes when reorganizing every year can cause confusion, as that means there are too many badly designed store arrangements, or your designer is just impatient. What needs to happen is there needs to be a balance between reorganizing every few years. Remodels need a subtle change for Target as well, so they have as a huge difference would cause too dramatic of a shift. The research backing this is remodels can be effective, however, remodels can shift too far away from your original customer base. That means failing to offer the proper niche when you create the motif of seeking or making too dramatic of a shift for the type of commercial remodeling that residents prefer. In some cases, people tend to be reluctant to change, which can cause them to go in a different direction other than your business. An example of a remodel working is Price Chopper, as they allow you to shop in the areas being rearranged. The last problem that I saw is a lack of communication for self-checkout. Target has a problem of communication with their self-checkout machines. The first problem being a lack of available self-checkouts past a certain time. The checkout machines that operate at the local summit is from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and afterward they're closed. Again, this isn't necessarily the biggest problem, however, that it doesn't communicate that. The problem is it doesn't list the hours until you get up to the kiosk and check the sign of the machine to check when the hours are. The problem is similar, and the next problem is similar to the first, being that some self-checkouts are designed to be fast by limiting the amount of items a customer can have, up to 10. But again, it's listed on the side of the machine and not easily visible to the customer. The solution to this is if these practices need to be implemented, the self-checkout machines need to have clear and visible rules for the customers who have an experienced self-checkout lanes. What Target can do is color code the self-checkout machines by leaving the checkout lanes who don't have an item limit silver, and by coloring these self-checkout lanes with item limits red. Another solution is to have a sign by the kiosk before customers are going to check out, labeling what the color of these machines mean and what operating hours are for checkouts. The research backing this is, according to a report by Radiant, 25% of consumers revealed that they would choose self-serving checkouts or wouldn't choose self-service checkouts because they've had bad experiences, and 67 reported failing while using them. Why this is important is because having bad experience in the past will limit use self-checkouts, because one of them had a bad experience. By providing clear guidelines and human assistance, this should reduce the number of bad experiences. An example of a store doing self-checkout right is Walmart, as they don't have item limiting, and they provide their hours and guidelines on how to use the machines before a customer is at the process of checking out.
From the Columbia Target, a problem that I saw was lack of checkout options. The only way to check out through the store was through self-checkout. There was no attendant at any of the in-person registers, and there was only one attendant that wasn't very eager to assist at the self-checkout as well. And there are 6 self-checkouts and 2 of them don't accept cash. And the solution to this is Target could have someone at the kiosk for normal checkouts during busy hours so that the line moves faster and that it makes the checkout process more efficient. And I think management can execute this by hiring and training checkout workers, or having more than just one employee working at the self-checkout area. From the article, Food and Wine, titled "The Best and Worst Self-Checkouts," it says that waiting for someone to unlock or access dish soap or deodorant is threatening our collective top priority when grocery shopping, which is time. Staff at the self-checkout lane and steer us to human cashiers. Upgrading the technology are all ways to avoid this and make the checkout more efficient. One store that does a really good job about this is Whole Foods. Since it's partnered with Amazon, they implemented a few new ways to ensure a quick and hassle-free checkout process. They brought dash carts where you scan the cart to which you're shopping with and then scan the store you're at. And as you add products to your cart, you just scan them and then you literally just walk out of the store through a dash lane. And then you can also just pay on Amazon as well. Another problem that I found was parking accessibility. The parking lot is usually busy and quite full since it's a shared lot with the mall, and the closest rows to the doors are used for curbside pickup and halfway through multiple rows as well. As you can see from this picture I took, this was literally yesterday I went to this Target, and this was the closest spot we could find. A solution to this could be to have more than one main entrance to the Target, or have a main entrance and then have a main exit by the checkouts to keep foot traffic flowing in a singular direction. This would have to be implemented through a contractor, and they would have to remodel the store for this to work, since there would be major changes to the building. From Business Insider, Target has already taken this into consideration. In the article, Target is fixing the most annoying parts about shopping at their stores. It states the company is creating two separate entrances, one for shoppers who have limited time and only need to pick up a few items, and the other for people who want to leisurely browse the store. The chain will also have a convenient parking space outside the entrance, with some dedicated for online pickup orders. If customers park in online pickup spots, Target employees will deliver their orders to their vehicles with the quick trip entrance. And Target is trying to solve a major problem by flagging big box retailers by lack of convenience. One store that does a good job about this is Meijer grocery stores. Some of their layouts and design with convenient parking wrapped around a singular corner so that there's an entrance and then the exit is on the other side of the building, to maximize the number of parking spaces near the door. The eighth problem that I could find was a lack of stock. The produce and frozen food section was completely depleted when I went the other day. Freezer shelves were literally empty. Since the Target I went to is the only one in Columbia and also in a college town, I feel like that should take into account the volume and demand for both families and college students who utilize Target for groceries and household needs. They should go back and look at previous years during each quarter to predict the amount of inventory they should supply, and also have staff that can efficiently put out items as they come in to keep shelves full. Management would have to provide training and timing for employees who stock. The research I found for this was from the Supply Chain Management Review article, Inside Target's Store as a Hub Supply Chain. It states that we move thousands of trailers a week to these stores, and it's important for the store to be able to plan for that, as well as a consistent flow of inventory. Now, we didn't do that alone, but the net result of the partnership between storage and supply chain is that it lets our store team members spend way more time helping guests or fulfilling orders and a lot less time managing inventory. I thought Aldi does a really good job at keeping their products on the shelf and refilling products as they leave. From their FAQ on their website, it states that we stock our shelves with only what shoppers want and need and nothing else, so customers can get in and out. Also from a Reddit article, someone was asking for tips since they had just been hired as a stocker and they wanted to become more efficient, and that said the most common recommendation to keeping stock was to set a 30-minute limit for each box that you put in for inventory as you put them out.
So one of the main problems that I personally ran into was that the shelves were very disorganized, or there was a bunch of random stuff from like other sections all over each aisle where it like didn't belong. So for instance, the Target that I went to, the women's shoe section where the shoes were like all over the place. You could hardly walk through the aisle. It's just very overwhelming. So a solution that I kind of was thinking of for this was standardized shelf management, which helps maintain like a tidy store and makes it easier for customers to go down the aisle and look through the products as well. This can enhance the overall shopping experience to improve operational efficiency. Training the staff to make it essential for the shelf organization would be a way to like make sure each department looks nice and tidy and organized, but also allows your customers to not feel so overwhelmed and not go down each aisle, and allows them to just kind of explore the store. But if you also assign a section to certain employees who are working that day, they could keep track of each little section to make sure it looks clean for the shift that they work. And so one of the LinkedIn articles that I found from one of the top experts in the retail industry said that customers shop with their eyes first, which I feel like is very true. It's extremely important to be a business that's ready at all times of the day and all times of the year. This takes a team effort. You as a leader need to be willing to do everything that you ask of your team. And it is also very important to empower your team to give feedback on better ways to maintain and improve store standards. So from this, I felt like it was just very true because I have personal experience of working in a boutique. So that's what I used as an example because I feel like they do this very well. The small businesses really pride themselves on their look for customer retention. And in their downtime, you're constantly folding clothes, you're constantly making sure it looks organized and do so. And I feel like that's just a great way that maybe these larger retail stores can implement just so that customer retention and Yelp reviews stay more positive. And then the next problem I ran into was online orders through the app being messed up or incorrect. And also the app saying that something is available online, but once you get there and get to look at it in the store, it is not available, which I ran into when I was going to try to find a new book for one of my classes that we were kind of reading together. A solution with this was order accuracy, and inventory management accuracy. They kind of go hand in hand. A way to combat those problems would be double check all orders before sending them out to a customer. And then if it's not able to be correct, then communicate with the customer ahead of the pickup time with different solutions on how to replace whatever item couldn't be fulfilled within the order, or just making sure the right items got to the right person, because I feel like that's a major thing that I ran into, but also reviewed online. And so a good way to double check the accuracy of the order is to use the cross-check method. When going through the first time, to use a check mark through the item and then cross off the previous mark when going back through to check everything. This allows employees to have more confidence when delivering an order out to a customer while also having a visual mark in front of him, making sure that everything is there, and helps provide error prevention, which makes happier customers each day. I used this from an online article kind of explaining that double cross method. And it just kind of talks about how more efficient it could be when, rather than you send something wrong out to a customer and they have to return, and then you have to deal with all of those things. A good place that uses these, you'll see it very frequently in pharmacies. Pharmacies, I guess, is very more important than probably a Target, but when they use this, you have to make sure that the correct medication is going out to the person so that you don't have something drastic happen. But I feel like it is very helpful and beneficial to them, and that they could implement it. So by improving guest services, Target can ensure that customers have a positive shopping experience, making them more likely to choose Target over their competitors, and then for their future shopping needs. This builds a loyal customer base that prefers Target for its reliable service and pleasant shopping environment. Happy customers are more likely to spend more during their visits. Improved customer experience can lead to an increase in the average transaction value, as a satisfied customer is more likely to more inclined to explore more of the store and purchase more overall. For example, training staff to provide more personalized recommendations and assist with product information can boost sales of a higher margin items and increase overall revenue. Positive experiences at Target will lead customers to share their satisfaction with friends, family, and social media, which is a huge influence in today's society. This organic marketing can attract new customers and strengthen Target's brand image as a customer-centric retailer. An easy way to help ensure this could be encouraging customers to leave reviews online or share their positive experiences on social medias so that their reputation can increase instead of having all those negative ones out there. And I feel like that's so like it's very important in today's society just because of how much online plays a fact into where people go. And then this allows Target to create a beneficial cycle of customer satisfaction, increased spending, enhanced brand loyalty, and long-term growth and market leadership. So I think that's all. If you just want to click through.
If anyone had any questions, and thank you all for listening and watching our presentation. And then here's also our references we have listed. We have references for all the information and the pictures listed. Thank you all so much.